Sets longer. I don't know exactly how this goes, but this is pretty long. I'll just put it.
Can we see a little of your screen here?
I can yap you about the program.
So it's taking that image, downsizing it, and then sending the pixels out through this strip.
Oh, look! No, it's not robot. It's like rocket ball. It just missed it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh yeah, this is definitely something.
I didn't put it in the video. Oh, there. Yeah. It sounds like my friend do this. There's a like you have to look at that to show you.
Anyways, I was gonna say we want to get the chapter like that one human
We made a drum machine out of 3D printed elements and existing instruments. It's connected to a circuit board and it's all powered by MIDI code to play pre-programmed drum patterns. We 3D printed mallets as well as mounts and holders for both the snare and the mallets. The snare drum, the kick, and the cymbal have been attached to these printed elements and combined, they make a full drum machine. Now, 3D printing was an essential element to our drum machine as it would not play without these 3D printed elements. We printed solenoid mounts for the snare, 2 snare extrusion mounts, 2 snare extrusion brackets, 3 mallet sticks, as well as plates, links, and holders for each. The mallet balls are all 3D printed, and the feather case, which houses the circuit board, is all made out of 3D printed, done by Kilo. Each piece is essential for both producing noise and making the drum machine play itself with the MIDI data given. The circuit board is made up of a Feather M4 Express, a breadboard, and an 8-channel Darlington driver. Code is fed through this circuit board by using CircuitPython, which can be pre-programmed with code to transfer MIDI data, timekeeping, and loop the MIDI sent to the drum machine. Digital output pins in the circuit board work with the MIDI data to send on and off signals to the solenoids on the drum machine. These solenoids are used to activate the springs on the mallets to play our kick and snare drums, as well as a small cymbal to play these pre-programmed patterns which were done on Logic Pro. For the drum patterns used in our project, we used Logic Pro. We created several different drum patterns using only kick, snare, and cymbal to highlight the diversity of what our drum machine is capable of with such little instrumentation. Now, we didn't face too many issues with this drum machine. However, there was a little bit of issues as the drum machine would not take MIDI files at first, but it was rather actually a MIDI device, and we needed to write a lot more code than intended for the drum machine. Another struggle we faced was 3D printing. It was very time consuming. Some of the pieces, we had to wait a long time to make sure that they came out correctly, and then attaching everything took a long time to do. But in the end, it all worked out to create the drum machine.
images that can be pre-picked right at the start. So we'll start with this sunset one. And right up here at the top, you are able to move how many pixels you want, whether it be more or less. Yeah, thank you. And then we, in Max, made it so that this is a strip of what our LED could look like if all of the strips or all of the pixels were in there. Unfortunately, we only have as many lights as this has, which is it 90? And so this reads each of the pixels from right to left and then down a row, right to left, down a row, right to left. And the color that is being, the pixel that's being looked at the time shows up right here. And then as you press play, the R, G, and B values connect to different sounds. So the R, red, is the piano, the MIDI notes. The G is percussion that plays randomly throughout, connected to MIDI notes. And the C is the synth. So I'll just play a little bit now, and you are also able to change the key. So, and each of the colors that are being played pop up on the strip, so you're able to see the sunset on the strip of lights. So this took a lot of work in Max, working with the projects we already had to do to make all of these sounds, how to make the MIDI notes, how to make the percussion notes, how to make the synth. And we added them together by extracting those color values of each individual pixel. And we were able to make a sound for each value of each color. So the shades with more red would be a higher pitched piano note, and yeah, so.
So our group, we made a temperature and humidity data collector that we made 4 different devices that will be putting throughout the School of Music to monitor the temperature and humidity changes of this building. Being a former parking garage, it has a lot of data to choose from. But we're doing this as part of a project for the piano technician to kind of gauge the climate data of the building for the sake of the pianos. But what we did for each device is we had a Raspberry Pico board that we then connected to an SHT45 climate sensor, and we put a little cage around it to connect to like a wall outlet to put around the building. So right now we have these devices set to monitor temperature, humidity, and we programmed the Raspberry Pico to feed that data that it collects through the IoT network at Duquesne, and then use that network to port that data into a web database where every 15 minutes we'll collect a reading of that data, and it can store up to a year's worth of data at 15-minute intervals for the low space of 4 megabytes. So what we did with that data from pre-existing data, we condensed those readings down into a data set, condensed those numbers into MIDI sequences, and then ported that data into a logic program to kind of perform. And so doing this at whatever chunk or snippet of data you choose from, you can kind of play a little tune to whatever's going on here, the temperature and humidity.
And for that we created a Max patch. where we are able to convert the data from the sensors into MIDI data that is being sent to Ableton Live. And I assign 2 different instruments for each line of data that can be played live.